Okay. Hello, hello? No, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Okay, okay.
I forgot I have push to talk on. That'll
Oh,
work.
yeah,
That's fine.
okay. Okay, man. Well,
Well, I always have push to talk on in normal Discord channels and voice channels, but I didn't know I had to have it. I had to press it for voice calls. So
okay. It's all good. It's good. Thank you for taking this offer. Uh,
yeah,
how was your
yeah.
week?
It was so far. It's been good. The kids started school. I got 3 kids, so do all that. So first day of school and all and everything. Had a couple ASICs I turned on. So it's been nice to kind of have my life back, not have the kids every day. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, you want to tell the viewers what you do?
yeah. So I own ASIC hosting company for Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, kind of any of those miners that actually mine the coin. I host it for people. So those machines, they use a ton of power. They're loud. They make a ton of heat, and so they need to be cooled down. So they need to be like in a certain environment, and most people can't do that at their house. Or if they can, they have to have like 2 or 3 of them, and then after that, it's too much. So I own a container to where I can hold 390 of them, plenty of power, plenty of cooling, and the whole works. And I host it for people, so I can find you a miner as cheap as possible out there. Or if you have some already, I host them for you. You pay me 10 cents a kilowatt hour, which is much less than the average person pays in the US. And I just host it for you. I run it, I take care of it. Today I was changing a power supply in one, and just, you get all the coin, I do all the hosting and deal with all the heat and everything else. And both of us are happy.
So you're hosting people's machines for them at like a service fee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So most of them around like 250 a month for like the top newer machines. That's how much it costs a month. But at home, you'd be paying more than that because the average electrical rate is 15 cents, or I charge 10 cents. So you'd actually be paying more than that at home, and dealing with the sound and dealing with the heat. So I just, take that out of there, and you just pay me a lesser fee.
Yeah. When did you decide to get into it? Because it looks like you have a bigger operation than you did like a couple months ago. So where did you
Yeah.
start?
So I started crypto mining 4 years ago. I've heard of Bitcoin back in 2011. It was invented beginning of 2009. I heard about it in 2011. Heard about it, all through the years, off and on. I didn't really, think too much of it, but it kept coming back, and so I kept having kids. So then I couldn't get into it because tight money wise and everything else. But in 2020, during COVID, I was like, okay, I'm done. I've heard about it enough. I thought about it enough. I'm just gonna get into it. So 2020 got into it. Started with just a couple GPUs. So I was one of those guys that was buying all the GPUs that people wanted for gaming and stuff. So I apologize. And I started that way. I got up to, what was I up to? 50, 48 GPUs at one point. And I ended up building a shed out back that had its own power and everything. I could run it in there, and I could have fit a lot more GPUs in there. I could have fit over 100. But I knew that at some point I wanted that was a lot of maintenance, to where these ASIC miners, these new Bitcoin miners and such, there's a lot less maintenance. You can have more of them and not have to work as much on them. Where with the GPUs, every different coin you mine, you have to change up the cards, and it was more of a hassle than I wanted it to be. So I was looking for the next step, and so
When it came to GPUs for gaming, you also have to like particularly set like the core clocks and memory clocks, the power limits and whatnot to get
correct.
the exact hash rate.
Yeah, so you do that to you save power. You want it to be as efficient as it can, and so but the thing is, everyone back then was mining Ethereum, and that was the most profitable, and that's why the price of the cards went up, because you could buy one card for $1,000, a 3070 for $1,000. You could make $4 a day on it, so you'd pay yourself back pretty quick. Where once Ethereum went away, you started mining these other coins, and they use different algorithms. So they still use the card. You can still mine with the card, but the way it mines is different. So you either tone down the card because that algorithm only uses the core, or tone up the card because that algorithm needs more memory and more core than normal. So you'd have to change it depending on what coin you're mining.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Ethereum went proof of stake from proof of work in 2021. I think it was around August or September.
I think it was 2022. It was September 15th, I think.
Okay, okay. Alright, I was off by a year, damn. And then
No, it's fine.
you saw like the hash rate in every other mineable coin just go through the roof. And
Yeah, so
even
you know
other
more about this than I thought.
even cryptocurrencies such as Kapow, people didn't like it because it was really efficient, but it had a lot of heat issues, so people went to other projects. Was there any coins that you liked and eventually went back to after it went proof of stake?
Uh, mm, I always stay. I started on Ethereum. I stayed on Ethereum until proof of stake. My biggest mistake, though, and you seem a little bit more up on the crypto world, which is great. Um, Everyone's heard of the coin Caspa now. It's like 26th,
Yes,
27th
yep.
in. So back in the day when you were mining Ethereum, you could dual mine Ethereum and get 95% of the hash rate, 90% of the hash rate normally,
hmm
and mine Caspa on the side. So back then, you could mine a crap ton of Caspa because not everyone was doing it. They didn't have these big ASIC miners on it.
Less hash rate.
I I am pretty sure I would have paid off my house with as much Caspa as I mined.
Oh, has it gone up that much?
Oh yeah, it that was below. It wasn't even a penny at the time. It was way less than a penny.
I remember Son of a Tech talking about it back in the day. He was like, "I'm gonna do a little bit here and there. I wanted to, but
Mhm.
couldn't." And I guess it really went through the roof.
Yeah, that one was a mistake. That was my biggest lesson was I should have been dual mining and because my power rate is pretty cheap here, and so I could dual mine and I had the heat was fine. Like there was no issue. There was no reason for me not to dual mine. But I sold all my Caspa. The other coin was lithium, and that's another big one. It's $1.50 now, and it was all of a penny back in the day.
Was that for
So I mined a
CPUs?
crap ton of that too. What was that?
Was lithium for CPUs? Or was it
Nope, it
also
was GPUs. It was
really?
GPUs as well.
Okay.
You could dual mine it, so you're making a crap ton of money on Ethereum, or yeah, on Ethereum, and then you're making, it was like $5 or $7 a month with my 50 GPUs, but all that coin though would have been if I would have kept on held on to it would be worth thousands and
Uh,
thousands right now.
why did you not mine much Caspa, if at all?
I did, but I sold it. Back then, my goal was to re reinvest all my profits. So if I mined in my shed and I walked away with $2,000 that month in profits after I paid my electrical, then I would buy $2,000 worth of GPUs. And so I just keep building and building. And so it didn't start off at 2,000 day one. It started off at $300, but then it just kept getting bigger and bigger as I added more GPUs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website mining pool stats, which I'm sure you are fully aware of, and I'm looking at the difficulty. Uh, February of this year, difficulty was 172 petahash, and now it's
Yep.
850 potentially.
Because the
Holy.
original the original Caspa ASICs came out. I don't know if it was February. I thought it was more like April, May. And one of my YouTube buddies, kind of the biggest name out there, Red Panda Mining. He got this. There's a company called Ice River that no one has ever heard of, and in the crypto world, you want to be very, very cautious. And so this company said they had this ASIC miner that was going to, blow everything out. It was making $1,000 a day. It was, some
What?
crazy number. And so because he's such a big name, the company sent him one. And in this space, we've seen different ASIC miners that have just been fake, or it's been a rug pull or whatever. But they actually sent him one, and it actually did what was advertised, and that was the very first one. That was the KS1 was the name of it,
How
and
do
it
you
came
rug
out in
pull?
April, May.
How do you rug pull an ASIC?
Well, companies will have you pre-order it. They'll say we have this product,
Okay.
it's going to do this much. You want to pre-order it? Send us the money, and we're gonna put you down, and then when it gets shipped here in 3 or 4 months, we'll send you one, and they just never send one. They never make it. It's all fake.
Uh, with the majority of things being on the blockchain being ASICs, do you think that impacts the average person that wants to get into the crypto space? making it more centralized for the with the big bucks in the pocket?
Yes and no. Yes, but there's enough big boys out there to where that'll keep it decentralized. You also have to think if a big company buys a crap ton of a miner, whatever coin, if they want to cause harm, whatever they've invested, they're not going to get their money back, because if they cause harm to the coin and the coin's value drops because no one else wants it, they end up hurting themselves. So the incentive is there to keep it going. They don't want to hurt their what they've invested in.
Mm. Well, I was more or
Does
less
that make sense?
yeah, I get the investment part. I was directing as participation. Does it make it more difficult for like the average person to participate?
Yes, on certain coins. Yes,
Okay.
like Caspa. For example, a year ago you could mine it on a GPU and it'd make a little bit of money. It'd be fine. Now the only way to mine it is to buy an ASIC, and I've been selling a ton of them. The model is called KS5L. They're $4,800, $5,000 to your door. Delivered to your door. That is making right now about $12, $13 a day. That one miner is. But it's an ASIC miner. It's loud. It's using 3,400 watts. You need 240. You need a special setup. Um, but that barrier of entry is, before you just need a GPU or two. Now you need
Yeah.
this heavy duty ASIC. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not the average person anymore.
Yeah. Back in 2020 or 2021, I participated for a couple years, and then everything just went on the network, and I couldn't get much out of it, so it wasn't worth it. But it did teach me a few things about the blockchain era and digital currency and the economy. What do you
Yeah.
think was the biggest lesson you learned from doing this as a business right now?
Well, it depends on if you're doing it as a business. It's just, you know don't invest more than what you can lose. And so me and my business partner, we built this container. We can hold 390 miners, but we didn't borrow any money. And our agreement was he was, whatever materials up front, he kind of invested himself, and he was very handy. He can weld, he can do all that. He's a licensed electrician, so he did all the
Oh,
electrical
okay.
work. So most of the work up front was him. I was just, whatever odd job that could be done, I did, but I'm not that handy. But now that we're up and running, I'm responding to emails, messing with ASICs, keeping stuff online, deploying new ones that show up. I'm doing all that work. So it's a partnership to where it's just our time and our personal money. We're not, investing millions of dollars or anything, or borrowing money. So
Okay.
from a business aspect, gross, I'm growing slow, but I'm growing healthy, and that's the end game. And so if you're looking at just a person wanting to get into crypto mining at a small level, a hobby level, just buy one or two GPUs, and you can build a machine that does that, see how you like it, and then slowly build from there. And that's the healthy growth that you're not going to kill yourself. If worst case it doesn't work out, or it's not what you want it to be, you could sell those GPUs and get, most of your money back. You're not out that much.
I would have to agree there. I started off with a 1070 and then worked up to a 3070 and then a 3080 and then mined between a 3070 and 3080. Sold the 3080 because well the GPUs were going up and so I kind of got most of my money back. And then mined with a 3070 and 3090 and then I realized I could technically scale up but then Ethereum went proof of stake. So it wasn't as big of a loss.
Yeah, and when everything went proof of stake there, I mean, it was bad, and it still is. To be honest, GPU mining right now is not very fun. It's not profitable. Even if you have 100 GPUs, you're not making that much. So it's kind of it's in that bear market. The bull market hasn't started yet. Bitcoin and crypto in general works on these 4-year cycles, and so if it kept with the cycle it's done 3 times already, 2025 should be the good year. But I figured it would have started by now. I figured we'd be going up more than Bitcoin hanging out at 60.
From what I understand, is that Bitcoin just recently halved like 6 or 7 months ago, and usually
Yeah,
there's a small
April
delay.
19th.
Usually there's a small delay
Correct.
after it halves before it starts doing its regular cycle. So we should be starting
Yep.
the cycle really soon when it comes to pricing.
Yeah, that delay was it was like 2 years, then it was 18 months, and then last time it was like 14 months. So it should start somewhere around a year. It's 12 to
Mm,
14 months
yeah.
from April 19th. But I figured we'd see more of a healthier growth with the ETFs, and just kind of more of a positive outlook on Bitcoin in general compared to what it was 4 years ago. So we're up there, but I figured we'd see a more healthy growth than just overnight, skyrocket and then come down, overnight. So I figured it'd be more of a healthy up.
Do you think these big law firms and big companies like BlackRock would actually impact the price?
Yes, I think I think it'll help kind of keep the ups and downs not as great, because I mean BlackRock has a bunch of Bitcoin on their books. They've bought a bunch already, for their investors, so they could sell, to their investors on their end for the ETF. So these other companies like that, they're buying Bitcoin to put on their books. Um, so I don't think, and I think they'll keep them to where a lot of the Bitcoin they buy won't be sold off whenever the price jumps up or goes down and so forth. It'll be more kept on the books. So that should bring Bitcoin out of the market, which means there's less Bitcoin to play with. It's less Bitcoin to sell and buy.
So less supply on like central exchanges.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Uh, what has been your most favorite project to work on so far?
Um, my favorite project, I don't know. Ethereum was pretty fun back in the day. I mean, it was great. It was nice to mine it. I don't On the project side, I haven't worked much. There's been some projects that I've felt great about, but they haven't really turned out as good as I was hoping. Um, so I guess I don't really have a favorite. I'm one of those that just whatever's the most profitable, I'm following.
Okay,
That's what I when I was GPU mining, that's one thing I cared about. So
so you're more directed in the business side of economics. Yeah,
yeah, I look at it as an investment, and if a project is promising, then I'm probably going to mine it early. But at some point, I'll get out just because I want to reinvest or do something. So I'm not the perfect poster child for being a miner for different coins. Um, yeah, I guess I don't have that's not something I thought about too much. Like I'm only supporting a cause just cause.
okay. Would you say that the service you provide is much easier to get into than other companies like Bitsby Tripping?
Okay, so Carter Bitsby Trippin, he's awesome. I've talked to him. He's helped me quite a bit with my container, and I asked him specific questions.
That's great to
What
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, so my what my there's other hosting companies out there. So look, kind of if someone wants to get into it, they're looking at what hosting companies offer. Bitsby Trippin, he's mining for himself. He's not hosting for people.
Oh,
So what he
okay.
Yeah, when he's buying 10 megawatts and 15 megawatts, he's got a couple business partners that they were mining Ethereum back in, way back in the day. And so he's buying for himself, he's investing for himself and building for himself. When you look at me as a hosting company to help, a person, me and the other hosting companies, our differences are, price is personable, or how personable you are. So like all my clients get my cell phone number, and I was actually talking to a couple tonight about different things. And so, you know, are they a big hosting company where you send the ASIC off and it gets turned on and you have to fill out a ticket to get any answers? And does it take a while to get a response? Or is it someone you can make a phone call or text, or make a quick email? In fact, I just got an email about somebody sending me something. So it's like, how personable is that company? And so that's the differences between the hosting companies. Um, and I'm one of the few that actually put my face out there. There's a lot of hosting companies. It's just a name, and they'll show pictures. Excuse me. They'll show pictures of their facilities and that kind of stuff, but you don't actually see who's touching it, who's working on it, who you're talking to. So I'm trying to be out front and available, but I'm not also going to be a huge company that can offer the best rates and that kind of stuff.
Okay. What would you say your favorite cryptocurrency?
Favorite coin? Um,
Maybe price wise, protocol wise,
yeah.
like developers.
Well, Bitcoin's the main one. That's one everyone hears of. So that's the one I talk to most when I'm talking to people that don't know much about crypto. Um, Coin that I think has a future. I have a client that is going to be sending me, quite a few big boy ASICs.
Oh
We're
boy.
talking seven
All
figures.
right. Oh my gosh.
Um, and he's supporting a new coin that it's called Bells. So everyone's heard of Dogecoin, correct?
Yeah.
So Dogecoin, the inventor invented this other coin called Bells, Bells. He invented it before Dogecoin, but Dogecoin's the one that took off just because of the name. So this new coin, and they're going to try to be in like the Casper world where they want to go for transactions per second and that kind of stuff. That's what they're kind of focusing on. So these new big miners can mine bells, but they also mine Dogecoin and also mine Litecoin. So that sphere, that algorithm that they're mining is called Script. So I think that would probably be my favorite at the moment, and it's been very profitable. It should be very profitable going forward. I think that's if you're looking for individual coins on GPUs, there's one called Clore, and that's a Kapow coin. It's
Core coin?
a kind of an AI marketplace. Clore, Clore.
Okay.
They mine on Kapow, and they are like a AI marketplace, and that's
Ooh.
their end game. So that has some potential. There's quite a few other coins shooting for that AI marketplace, and so that Clore is just one that I was mining quite a bit for a while there.
Do you think that AI in the crypto industries actually does anything? Or is it just like some type of
Um,
trend to get more attention and maybe make money real quick?
so if the big boy ASIC miners, the big boy Bitcoin miners, they're actually going into AI a little bit, maybe not 100%, but just enough, because if a company wants to get into AI, they need the same thing the Bitcoin miners do. They need power, they need cooling, they need facilities like that, and so it's an easier transition for a
Okay.
Bitcoin miner that's done it, the big boys, to set up a building or set up stuff just for AI mining, and they already have the contracts, they already know the questions asked, and so a lot of the big companies are getting into AI to because it's the same thing as Bitcoin mining. They're looking for the same stuff.
Are any of these AI coins, do they have any like good protocols? Or is this like a gamble?
They all promise. It's a gamble. They're all promising stuff. Flux is one. Clora, and I'm sure there's plenty more out there that I'm just not aware of. Because I since I started this hosting business, I haven't been into the GPU market as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Um, they're all kind of a gamble. None of them's taken off. There's not one that's like you want to go into. There's actually one to look at. It has nothing to do with mining though. It is called Render, and that is um, AI, but it's more for like graphics for movies and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So look at that one. It's called Render. I
Would
think
you
the
be able
price
to
the other
send
day
a
was like
link to
five.
it?
Yes.
If I
One second.
if I type in render, I'm gonna get like 1,000 results. Uh, I'm looking at Flex right now, and I don't remember them being tied to AI back in the day. They were mostly
Uh,
like hardware renting or leasing for like colleges and whatnot.
yeah, but it's in the AI where the people rent it for AI kind of stuff.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's that's kind of the same sphere. It might be a different branch, but it's like the same idea. That you can rent it for that kind of stuff. Here's Render.
Yeah, the idea behind Flex, if I remember correctly, 4 years ago they did an interview and they talked about how they just wanted people to rent out their hardware so colleges didn't have to spend thousands of dollars. It could be much cheaper and hardware wouldn't be
Yeah, and they're also
wasted.
getting into the yep, and that's one market. They're also getting into hospitals and that kind of stuff. And so, cloud space and storage and that kind of stuff for um, just for the hospitals in general and different avenues in that sphere.
So how would you gauge render crypto if you can't mine it?
That would be kind of one of those where if you support the project, not not every coin is has to be mineable. Um, some of them have proof of stake, some of them have different mechanisms. But render is just one I would keep in mind. I'm not going to tell you that you need to buy it or anything.
Right.
It's just something to keep in mind. But like Solana's one that you can't mine it, but it's very good because of what it does and what it's trying to do. And so there's other coins out there that do good stuff that just aren't mineable.
I think it's fair to say that Ethereum, although we all disagree with it going proof of stake, it's been quite successful. I've been looking at the fees the last couple of years, and it's been more stable than it was during proof of work. And it seems to be a whole bunch of tokens on there now.
Yeah, it hasn't ran into the fee problem that it did before. I don't think that is directly related to mining or not mining in this case. But no, the fees have been better on it. Going proof of stake, they did open up their how much transactions per block that it was able to do. So it made a little bit more room in there. But also, we're not in a bull run either. When the
Yeah,
fees were crazy, it was always during the bull run when the prices are going up and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I don't think it's been pushed to the same
that's a fair point.
level that it was
Yeah.
before.
I guess we'll start seeing the network start clogging up, and we'll see how far those fees go.
Exactly, and Bitcoin does the same.
Exactly. Yep.
Bitcoin, that's the one thing. Like I could tell you exactly what the fees are now, and I follow it every day, and that determines the profitability and that kind of stuff. But when Bitcoin, when the fees start going up and bull run starts, people want to get their transactions going faster and faster, so then the fees go up. So it actually becomes, yes, the price goes up, but then the fees also go up. So then you're making more per block, and you're just making more in general. So um, yeah, that's also a plus for mining. Um,
When it comes to cryptocurrencies, people want something that's pseudo-anonymous, and if not fully anonymous, which is what Monero's for. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, it's pseudo-anonymous because there's still some idea tangled in with it due to how the network works. Do you think a Bitcoin would be valued more in the future if it's not moved at all and there's no activity once it's unmineable?
well, the idea is it's still gonna be mineable for like 50 years or 75 years. At that point, the fees are gonna be enough to uh they're planning the fees are gonna be enough to keep the miners on the
Yeah,
market.
I hope so. Uh,
There's always gonna be an equilibrium. If the fees aren't to the level that it needs to be, then the miners will come off. But there'll still be plenty of miners on the market, and it's not going to be like overnight where the miners just going to drop off because all of a sudden you can't get any Bitcoin. It's going to keep going down and down and down. So it'll be a steady downcline in the mineable rewards, but the fees will always be the same. The fees will be there still. So it won't be like overnight. There's no miners. It'll be a slow trend if it's going to be a problem.
I was trying to refer to if someone wanted to buy a Bitcoin that hasn't been touched in a long time, and it was just mined. Do you think
Okay.
someone would overpay for
Okay.
it?
I think right now you could sell. I forgot what the name is. A Bitcoin that hasn't gone to any exchanges or anything. You can sell it for more than what it is on like the open marketplace. It's like $1,000 more, $500 more. It's not too much.
So it's like 1%.
Um, yeah, 1 or 2% more. It's not a crazy number. Well, the idea that it's pseudo anonymous is the big boys, the big money, they don't care. They just want Bitcoin. The people usually wanting for it to be completely anonymous are the ones that pay a little bit extra, but they're also probably not doing stuff all the time that's perfect. So I guess I'm not one of those where I'm pushing the the completely anonymous transactions and
Mm-hmm.
the XRPs and that kind of stuff. I'm not one of those Moneros. I'm not one of those that want they call them maximalists. I'm not a maxi Bitcoiner or anything like that. I just want, it to be healthy and what you can do from a technical standpoint for not just Bitcoin but other coins in general, you know, being anonymous is not, it's probably going to hurt that more than it's going to help.
So you're not really interested into the anonymity side of it?
No, I'm not a maxi as much as an X person.
Okay.
I'm not one of those. So
Where do you see
I'd
your
rather,
business in like 5 years?
from a hosting standpoint, in a perfect world, in 5 years, I want to get up to, my container is 1.2 megawatts, and I can run 390 machines. I want to get up to around 5 megawatts, and we can do that healthy for 5 years. Um, that would be about where we want to end, because at that point, me and my partner can't do everything. At that point, we have to start hiring on more help and that kind of stuff. And when you hire on more help, that opens a huge can of worms. Um,
Legalities,
and
yeah, for
so,
sure.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to pay him and that kind of stuff. But at that point, you should be making enough to where it's the money part's fine. But you know, I want I want to be able to have someone call me and I'll be able to go touch their machine and work on it and fix it. And my knowledge is more than the average person right now. And it'll be just that much more. If I hire someone on, I got to kind of teach them and help them. And just, there's, I don't want to be, I don't want to get 20 megawatts and have, 5, 10,000 machines. I don't want to get to that level, because then it's almost too big and you can't have all the pluses of being personable, give people your numbers. You can't do all that at that level.
Uh, if you don't mind me asking, right now, how much does it cost for you to run for 1 month?
I don't say my business numbers, what my charges are and that kind of stuff on my end. Um, I will say, mm, I, I'm trying to think what I could say right now. We have 40 machines. We can hold 390. So right now we're not at the level to where either one of us can live off of it. I think that's fair. Um, it's still a side business that we're growing.
Right.
Um, but it'll be, the power bill will be over 50,000 once the container's filled.
Yeah,
I can say that
that's a lot of money, man.
each month.
Uh,
That I can say it'll be in that range per month for just my cost on running the electrical.
did you see yourself getting tunnel vision on this when you first started with GPUs?
Tunnel vision. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those. I think you can have three things you focus on. Either it's like two businesses and football or fantasy football or something like that. You have to have three things you can focus on. So I have family and kids, so I take my kids to school, pick them up from school. We got practices. So that's one. Second is my normal day job, and third is this crypto.
So you have
If I wanted,
family, you have crypto, and then your primary job.
that's my three things right now. So those are my three focuses. Everything else I can't do at a good level, or I try, or I don't even do it to a good level. So, me and you, we played a game together. There's no way I'm going to play it more than just here and there, just for an hour or two, just to kill some time. It's not a focus. It's not something I want to. It's not one of my three things.
What recommendations do you have for people if they're already involved with crypto and might want to get knees deep into it?
It depends on where they're at. The location means, can you do it something at where you're at, from a power, because power cost is the number one factor in crypto. So if you're a home miner and you have 10 GPUs and you want to get up to 100, what's your power cost at home? That's the number one determine if you can do it or not, or if you need to look elsewhere. You can look at hosting. What coins you want to support or mine. Do you want to have ASICs at home, or do you want to host ASICs with someone like me? Um, that is kind of the first question I have for someone, is what that cost is and what they want to do. Um, and then, to be honest, after that is very personal. What do you want to end? What's your end game? What do you want to do? How much you want to invest? It kind of depends on the person. I can't say here's what you should do or shouldn't do. It just depends on your position and where you're at in life.
Uh, what percentage of the crypto industry you think is purely for financial reasons, and that's just for the ideology of what cryptocurrency was built for?
I would say my guess is 75% is from a profit standpoint and 25 is ideology. I, I think that's probably closer than people want it to be. But if people are able to make money or at least get their money back, they'll do it. The day like when Ethereum goes away, the miner there's not as many miners right now than there was before Ethereum, and the reason they were in Ethereum is because they were making money. So that's why that percentage is so high from the profit standpoint.
So you think that if another coin came out that was protocol based really good, but also financially feasible for someone that was broke basically wanted to get into it, you think the ideology and investment would be more balanced out?
Actually, I think it'd be worse if there's another Ethereum. I think there'd be more people jumping in that want to get into it from a profit standpoint. So
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I think it'd be the opposite. Um, as as stuff becomes less and less profitable, the ideology part goes up. But just from in the community that I'm in with my YouTube channel and other stuff like that, the number of people that have gotten out is way more than new people coming in because they're afraid of what they weren't making any money, or they were and then they weren't after Ethereum, and now they're done, they're just going to wait. So more people are going out because of profit than because of ideology.
I think that's fair to say because when it comes to Monero mining, you're actually at a loss, but the it's so decentralized. A lot of people are running very cheap computers, but it's like heavily secured because of that. And there hasn't been like an
Yeah,
ASIC to get into it.
it was called a Bitmain X5, and it was a piece of crap. Sorry for but
No,
it
it's
wasn't
fine.
very. They had a lot of issues. Bitmain itself in general, that's the number one ASIC miner company out there, but they made that X5 for I think it was Monero, and they had all kinds of problems. And so I think it's just because of that algorithm, it's tough to do, and so it does keep it more decentralized because there's not as many ASICs. Um, yeah,
Uh, have you read any of the Bitcoin books that have been released over the last 10 years?
yeah, and I'm always looking for more. When it comes to Bitcoin books, let me bring up my Audible here because I listen to Audible books every day, all day long.
Uh,
I'll
uh,
get you a list here of all the books I've read.
there's an issue with Monero that happened this year, maybe last year. The issue is that all transactions were like paused for like an entire day, which is unusual because transactions take less than 30 minutes, and it's been like that since like year one. And there hasn't been really a reason why. No one's really figured it out, or at least I haven't seen a post about it.
Yeah, I
I
guess
had a
I
lot of
didn't.
friends message me about it. I was like, "Yo, my stuff's not moving." I'm like, "It should. It's Monero. What seems to be the issue, man?"
No, I guess I didn't know that. I know there's been other issues with other coins, but no, I didn't know about the Monero issue. So I got a list of books here.
Okay.
Sorry, my screen's white here. Um, Kind of if you're new to Bitcoin or new to crypto, mastering Bitcoin, it's written by Andreas Antonopoulos. I know he's been in Bitcoin since like 2013, and he's like they have these big conventions and stuff. He's one of the speakers. The Genesis book is one, and then kind of fun ones is hijacking Bitcoin. That's talking about the block size war, and so there's from one side of that issue is it's called the book's called hijacking Bitcoin, and the other side it's called the block size war is the name of the book, and that's more in the middle, talking about what they're fighting over in Bitcoin in like 2015 through 2017. Um, Also kind of a fun one talking about the Winklevoss twins, the Bitcoin billionaires. That's a good one. And then, sorry, quite a few books here.
No, that's fine.
And then that Andreas Antonopoulos also wrote some other ones called The Internet of Money. There's volumes 1, 2, and 3. And then kind of more of the maxi idea, the Truth Machine, and Digital Gold's one, and then the Bitcoin Standard is kind of the one everyone's heard of. That one's it's very maxi
There's
driven.
the Bitcoin Standard by what Scheifending or something like that.
Yeah, Saifendine Amas. That one's good. And then one about Ethereum, which is really good. It's called Out of the Ether. It's talking about the Ethereum DAO that was hacked, but it also talks about Ethereum from start to just after the DAO. So kind of the beginnings of Ethereum and kind of how it started and kind of the people involved and that kind of stuff.
So the Ethereum Ether, uh, going back to the other book,
Yep.
software by Jason, right? Jason Lowry.
Uh, I have not Out of the Ether, or which one was that? Jason Lowry.
The software that was released like last year, and then he was kicked off
Oh
Amazon
no,
or something.
no, I have not read that one, so I should write that one down.
Yeah, it came out last year, and then out of nowhere, it was no longer in publication. And if you go on eBay right now, for some reason they're selling for big bucks. The hardcovers are, and
Okay,
I was able to get one this year for $50, and that was his paperback instead of the hardcover. I'm not sure why.
gotcha.
I don't know if that's forced scarcity or if there actually was an issue, because he did publish on his Twitter account last year that he was told by an agency to stop publication.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably more of a fighting on the publication side, just kind of just the book side in general. I don't think that was because of the subject.
So some people theorize it was because of it promoted, like, I guess countries to all have their own mining facility and security
Yep.
from different perspectives outside of this mining crypto.
Yeah, I guess I don't know why that would be a problem to make a book about that, but yeah, I guess without reading the book, I wouldn't know exactly what's in there. But I think that's more of a publication fight than anything.
Is there any other books that you're looking into get?
No, I haven't looked recently. There's a book on Caspa. It's actually called the Book of Caspa. So I've read that one. That one's not about Bitcoin. That's about Caspa specifically. And so that's kind of the hot button term. Everyone's heard of Caspa now, and that's kind of a big deal in the mining world.
Didn't Singapore call this out when it first came out?
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I hesitated. Everyone hesitated because it was a new project, and
Yeah, yeah, it was. But I mean, they all start somewhere. You know, it I've there's 100 projects, two or three of them are gonna be something. So and when you're in mining, you want to start on those projects early because that's when you get the most rewards, and then just sit on them. Like I said, I was one of the first ones. I was mining Caspa early, and I mined
well,
thousands a day in Caspa, and I sold it instead of
well,
holding on to it.
if you think about it, I forget who said this in the business book, but he said there's no shame in taking profit. So if you're able to, there you go.
Yeah, and you see arguments for both. You take 90% profit, you take 50, you take just 20. There's different arguments, and sometimes you make yourself look good because there's coins that I mined that I took profits on that end up not being anything, and so I look pretty good there. But then there's other coins like Caspa where I probably shouldn't have taken profits. And what do you do at the time? You don't know. You're gambling, so it's kind of depends on what your position is and what your end game is.
That's I don't know if you know, but back in the day when Ravencoin was about to go halving, Ravencoin Lite came out.
Yep.
I remember mining on Ravencoin Lite for like a month, and then there was
Yeah,
an
that was
issue.
on CPU.
No, Ravencoin Lite was on GPU.
Okay, I was thinking of
Maybe
maybe. Yep,
Ravencoin
it's fine.
Classic, possibly, but there was an issue. That's why I stopped mining it because no one got the rewards, and so I mined like a week and got the rewards. I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. Y'all gotta fix that. So there are all these new
Hmm.
projects coming up. You
Yeah,
gotta weigh in on what you might lose.
yeah. So I thought maybe that project switched to something else that was CPU mineable. I I wanted to get CPUs to just mine. And they weren't too crazy expensive. I just never got to it. They are, be honest, they can be still profitable even at this point. But the problem is you have to be very knowledgeable on Linux and have a system set up with networking to secure yourself, because you're downloading these coins and these wallets that aren't vetted. They're brand new. You're one of the first 1,000 people to download it, and it won't be the first time that it's actually just it's a big fake and it's a hack, and they're just trying to get your access to your computer to then steal other crypto. So um, you can do CPU mining, but at that early level, you got to be very technically savvy to protect yourself. Instead of just downloading a bunch of wallets and new coins and start mining them, you have to have some knowledge there.
I think it was DJ Miners that got really messed up, and
He's a good buddy of mine. I actually
yeah,
ran a ASIC for him for a while. DJ is great. He got hacked for I think north of 20,000.
yeah.
He actually got hacked again here. I think we think the same thing. And that
Again.
was more because he got hacked more because he was a YouTuber than
Okay.
because of something he did crypto wise. Um, but he got hacked again. It was nowhere near as bad. He protected himself a little bit,
There-
but he actually got hacked kind of the same way he got hacked the first time. So we were giving him a hard time about that.
Yeah. I think he talked about it, but I highly suggest people run the programs first in a virtual machine or virtual server, so the likelihood of them getting messed up and losing everything is minimalized.
You're 100
So,
percent correct. It's running VMs and then having that VLAN off in your networking. So I know how to do VMs. I learned it roughly a year ago because of that, just to kind of keep stuff and try these new coins. So I learned it the hard way, and it's not that bad. But I actually, the good thing I learned that kind of stuff and some networking stuff because of I knew I was getting into this hosting part too. So I knew I needed to know how to do that as well. But you're right. That's the basic thing. Make a VM for this new coin, put the wallet on. And that's just step one. And there's a couple steps you can do to protect yourself.
yeah, maybe that could be your next video. Something that simple might save everyone. So,
There's other people in the YouTube sphere that I'm friends with that know more about it that I actually ask questions
okay.
for. So
All right.
I wouldn't say I'm the most knowledgeable when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm more than the average person, but not like some of these other guys that know way more than I do. So that wouldn't be a video I would do because I'm not knowledgeable enough to answer 1,000 questions and to say the best way, the perfect way to do it. I just know a way that I can do it, and it's not necessarily the best.
So what are some YouTube channels you would recommend that are also in the same space as you?
So number one would be Red Panda Mining. He is kind of he's the goat. He's got I don't know 300, 400, 500,000 view subscribers. I mean he's a good friend of mine too. We talk often. So he's number one. The other guys, from a technical standpoint, the Mining King is one. He's very technical savvy. He helped me with VMs. Max Voltage is in there. Hawk Crypto Mining's in there. He's more on the level of what I am on a knowledge base. So he's more talking about different new projects and that kind of stuff, but he's not in depth like some of these other guys are. DJ would be one, but he is actually overseas.
Okay. All right.
For he's deployed, so if he shows up, he's just talking general sense. But he used to do a lot more videos on different coins and different
DJ
miners.
Mines actually
DJ
serves?
Mines, correct? Yes, he serves. Yep,
Oh, I
he's
didn't know that.
overseas.
Wow.
I know roughly where he is. I can't say it.
That's fine.
But yeah,
That's a big W there. I didn't know we had like a veteran in the industry space.
yeah. No, he's been deployed a couple different times. And so he's not like actively fighting. He's more kind of in support. But he's overseas. His family's here, and he's over there. For at least a year, I think.
Yeah.
So 18 months or something. Yeah.
He's got a good community and space behind him, so that's really crucial.
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, um, most of us YouTubers and pretty much all the names I mentioned, even Red Panda is someone as big as him in the YouTube sphere. We all play games together. We hang out. I met you playing Counter Strike. Most of those guys play Counter Strike with us. Um, we we used to play. We still kind of play StarCraft 2.
Oh
We played some
man.
other games. There was a couple weeks there we all played Among Us. That was pretty hilarious. But we played quite a few games together because we're kind of in the same boat where we're, you know, we want to get away. So we all know that at night we don't want to get pestered with texts or comments, or just in our Discord channels. We don't want to answer a bunch of questions. So we go hide somewhere and play
Yeah.
games and just relax.
Yeah, the reason why I added it because their name was fully spelled out like a casual server, and I was like, "There's no way this is an actual thing." I looked you up on YouTube, was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I'll check him
Yep.
out. This is a new person I haven't heard of."
Yeah, I mean, and from the Counter Strike standpoint, I mean, heck, I played it competitively back in CS 1.6 days, and so I've always been a gamer, and that's where I learned I need to. That's one of the, like I said, I mentioned the three things you can focus on.
Yeah.
So if I, back in the day, that was one of them, and then WoW, World of Warcraft was one for a while, and so I've always been a gamer, so that's why getting into GPU mining was always a thing because it wasn't that big of a change. And because I knew about video cards, I knew how that kind of stuff worked. I built my own
Mhm.
computers since I was 14, so it was easy for me to gravitate over. But I've always been a gamer and so forth. So
Yeah, I think we might see another. Maybe it already happened, but we might see another flooding in the market of GPUs and whatnot because we're gonna offload like third gen, maybe fourth gen, as they pump more ASICs and the newer 5 gen cards. So the gamers can rejoice with maybe cheaper, cheaper prices.
yeah, I think 3070s are down to 250. You
250, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I sold all my GPUs a year ago, or beginning of this year. I sold my 3070s for like 350, 400. I made out okay on them. But yeah, if there's another coin that comes up that's profitable, I bet you those go right back up to 400 or 500 bucks. So
Uh, I don't know if the GPU market will spike because there's not much crypto that's mineable with GPUs.
yeah, as of right now, I couldn't say that it's going to spike again. I'm just saying if it does, those prices will come back up. Um, I also think they're a little bit better on the supply side. So I think the supply side's a little bit better than what it used to be. So I think even if there was a spike like Ethereum, it wouldn't be as drastic pricing wise.
Uh, in the crypto space and the Counter Strike space, it kind of collides because people like to exchange products with crypto. Have you tried doing that yet? Buying CS:GO skins or Steam games with crypto?
I have not. I know you can. I haven't because I'm one of those. I if I'm playing a game, I don't care about skins, so I
Okay.
don't spend anything on anything extra. So I'm not the best person to ask. I do know Red Panda spent some money and got some skins, and we made fun of him for a couple of nights there. But I'm one of those. If there's any like a skin or anything, I don't care. I don't set it up. I don't pay anything extra for it. So I'm not the best guy to ask about that.
Have you tried buying anything from a website with crypto?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I bought different ASIC miners and stuff like that. I have a crypto card, so it's a Visa card, good wherever Visa's accepted, and so I can you like it's like a prepaid card, so you prepay it with crypto. So you sell the crypto and it puts on this card, but then I
Okay.
can go swipe the card at the grocery store, the gas
Oh,
station,
okay.
anywhere. So I do that to pay my electrical out of my shed, and to when I went and bought different things, on Amazon for my shed, for my mining farm, and that kind of stuff. I use that card for everything. So yes, I purchased it with crypto, um, but but it's not as easy yet to just walk into a store, use your phone, and pay for it. It's gonna be. It's just not yet.
Yeah. I know in Newegg I bought a few games and did a few giveaways long ago, and it was really easy. Yeah. Um, do you think Bitcoin adoption or crypto adoption will increase like it did the previous bull run?
Yeah, I think so. And that came back to when I said earlier that there's a more of a positive view of Bitcoin in general, just from the average person. So, you know, everyone's pretty much heard of Bitcoin now in the world. So it's more seen as more of a positive thing. There's more positive things about it than just, the the dark side of the web and that kind of stuff that it used to be. So I think if Bitcoin jumps up in price, there'll be a lot more adoption, which should fuel that price to keep going up and up. But Bitcoin itself, it had the chance to be adopted for transactions. It's not built for transactions though.
I would have to agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not built for it. And that's those books I read about the block size war. That was that argument that went, and so for transactions, Litecoin's good, Dogecoin's pretty good, but Caspa is the one that they're trying to 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 be the coin that is everything is transacted on. So that's where if we see adoption for those coins, that's a good thing for the whole crypto sphere.
I've used a few cryptos, and Bitcoin has got to be the worst one just for a transactional thing. It just takes too long and too expensive. Like I've used a few
Yeah.
others, and they all just outdo it. So I think it's
Yep.
probably just people see Bitcoin as a moneymaker, so digital gold. But as a
Gold. Yep.
currency as itself, I don't think it's gonna be a thing. Because from
Yep.
like architecture and physical hardware, it's not meant for it.
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct. It's not meant for transactions anymore. And that's kind of where that maxi Bitcoin mindset comes in, where originally that it was made for transactions. They wanted
Yes.
to make it so it could get better and better in transactions. And at first it wasn't, but at the level it needs to be. But they knew they could grow onto it, and that's so that argument about the block size war between 15 and 17. How do you make it more transactionable, and that kind of stuff? So yeah, it's not that's not the coin I transact on. I hold Bitcoin, but when I transfer it, I transfer one big chunk or I don't transfer at all. And all the other stuff I transfer on, I be honest, I transfer on Dogecoin or Litecoin because they're faster, way cheaper. Also USDT. There's different different
USD Tether.
yeah, Tether. There's different chains you can transfer on, and so there's different ones on there I transfer on because they're cheaper and faster. So there's other ways to transfer money, and that's what the public. That's a lot for a public to figure out when it comes to crypto. They get scared. If you just said we're just going to do Bitcoin and just have one Bitcoin wallet, they can do it. But if you have to say you have to have these 3 or 4 or 5 other coins, and this coin's good at this, and this coin's good at that, they can't wrap their head around it. So that's where just the knowledge and just time needs to keep going to get where people are more comfortable having 5, 6, 7 coins that they know they've heard of for what they're what they need to use it for.
Right. Yeah. Analysis paralysis. There's 20 colors of ice cream. If you have three, it's easier to pick from.
Yeah, yeah. Or I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. Like you use this coin for this coin for that, and this coin for this. So you have three different
Dedicated
options and just choose.
coins. Yeah, I
Yep,
agree.
yep.
I feel like Bitcoin would be a good one if you're trying to move a lot of money. Let's say if you want to buy a house or you want to buy a car or something. But if you want to buy like coffee, maybe Caspa, Monero, or something else because it's quicker. It's right there.
You're 100% correct. Yeah, that's the perfect way to explain it. Yeah, if you're buying a big chunk, then yeah, the $50 fee or $25 fee for Bitcoin's not a big deal. But if you want to just buy coffee, you don't want to spend three
Yeah.
bucks on just the fee.
Yeah. Yeah, your $3 coffee is now gonna be like $10, and they're gonna get paid like a week later.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like 6 hours, but it's still it's not doable. Where Caspa, it's quick, it's instant, and it's yeah. You can have you can have 10 confirmations in 5 seconds, or I think it's way faster than that, but let's just say, 5 seconds if or less for to have 10 or 15 confirmations for a Caspa transaction. So then, that's doable. You buying coffee, or buying, a sandwich or something. So
Sorry, I'm drinking some water. I guess we'll call it there. It's been roughly an hour. I don't want to take the rest of your night up. I appreciate you. Is there
no,
anything
we're good.
else you want to say, or where they can contact you?
Yeah, so my contact at iowamining.io. And so my website is iowamining.io. And my YouTube channel, and I'm sure you're gonna post this for clients too. My YouTube channel is Iowa Mining. And I have videos, I have different things with the hosting side, and that's kind of what my focus has been lately. But I even have old videos on different miners and different stuff back in the day, so you can kind of look back and see where see my graduation, how I got to where I am. But from the hosting side, it's if you want to get into those big boy miners, you don't want to deal with you don't know where to buy from, you don't know how to run it or host it. That's where I come in. You pay a flat 10 cent per kilowatt hour fee. I do all the running, I do all the maintenance, I do all the setting up. I keep and I walk you through the process because you have my cell phone number, you can talk to me. And it makes someone that wants to get into it but doesn't know enough, but they can get into it. And I can walk them through, tell them what to do, and kind of figure out where they want to invest, and then here's some options and go from there.
Okay. Uh, thank you.
No, I appreciate you having me on. And uh, I enjoyed this. We should do this again sometime. But yeah, you knew more about crypto than I thought. So this is kind of a different conversation that I thought coming in. So
What
I
what
appreciate you having me.
what did you think it would be? I'm curious now.
Uh, I thought it was more of so that you knew I did the crypto mining stuff, but then you wanted to see how did I get there? You played games. I met you on a game, but now you're doing this crypto. Like, how did you get into it? What do I, and that kind of stuff. So, you knew more about coins and algorithms and different stories and that kind of stuff than I thought you would. And yeah, so it was different. It was fine. It was not what I was expecting sitting down.
Yeah. Uh, well, no problem. Yeah, I'm sorry it made it a lot easier for you to expand on the conversation and elaborate as well. Uh,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I thank you very much for having me on.
all right. You have a good day.
You as well. You as well.